Hello everybody, welcome back to the bright side of basketball. Today we're going to be reacting to one trade every NBA team would make if the trade deadline was today. So let's get right into it. First up, we got the Atlanta Hawks. So the trade is Kristaps Porzingis, Asa Newell, Luke Kennard, and the 2027 first round pick, top 4 protected via the Pelicans and the Bucks, to the Dallas Mavericks for Anthony Davis. Now, me personally, I don't like this trade for the Hawks. Just purely based off of initial reaction, initial looks, I am not a huge fan of this trade. You're trading for someone who's relatively injury prone. Obviously, you're trading someone who's quite injury prone for the other person who's quite injury prone, but to me, I feel like you're giving up a little too many assets for me personally. I feel like also considering the contract that Davis is on. Let me just double check. I'm fairly certain he has so right here, according to Spotrac, he's on contract up until 2027, in which he has a player option. So to me, I'm not a fan for the Hawks. I feel like that's a lot of money. I think also considering, let me check Porzingis. Yeah, to me it's quite crazy considering that Porzingis, this is his last year right here. So to trade an injury prone player who only has 1 year left for one who has essentially like 2-3 years left is a bit crazy to me. Also the fact that they're giving up quite a valuable pick too, being the Pelicans and the Bucks. I have to say the top 4 protection is one of the worst things on it, because that could easily be one of the top picks. That pick could even be turned into something that you can use a bargain and chip for a trade for possibly Giannis. And I think that's where I lean more so towards for the Hawks. I do really like the idea of a Giannis trade to the Hawks, either to the Hawks or to the Spurs. I'm a big fan of both. I think it's quite fair for both teams. I think they could get a lot of value out of it. And I think the Hawks have the ability to trade for him without giving up too many good players. Like, I could easily see one with just Porzingis, maybe Asa Newell, maybe Luke Kennard for salary filler, and then just the 2026 pick, 2027 pick for Giannis. I don't think that would be that crazy of a deal. I guess it really depends. For me personally, I'm not a fan of this trade. I can see if you argue that they need to compete right now. I guess the point of this is if the trade deadline was today, they feel like they need to do something. So I guess I don't mind it, but still, I personally wouldn't do it. I would rather try to get Giannis. Next, we got the Celtics. Anthony Simons, Josh Minnow, 2026 second round pick via Pistons, Bucks, or the Magic, and a 2031 first, top 3 protected for Miles Turner. Okay, I actually really don't mind this. I don't mind this for either teams. I think it makes sense. I think the Bucks, assuming they're going to trade Giannis, which I'm fairly certain they will this season, and if not this season, it'll happen in the offseason. That's not a bad piece to start an initial building around. Obviously, Anthony Simons isn't extremely crazy good, but he can be a bit of an offensive engine by himself on a team that doesn't have a whole lot. So you could still have a bit of excitement around the team. And as well as they're also getting a 2031 first round pick back, and also a second round pick for Miles Turner. And then for the Celtics, that makes complete sense. One of their weakest positions right now being center. They have Keita, who could be a good bench player, but they definitely need a starting caliber center, and they get this with that. And as well as he can also shoot threes, he can space the floor, all kinds of things that will help out Tatum a bunch and Brown a bunch once they get back. More spacing is always good, to be completely honest. Always having more guys who can hit threes is great. So yeah, we'll see. Next, we got the Nets. Michael Porter Jr. to the Chicago Bulls for Patrick Williams, Zach Collins, and a 2026 first round pick. Okay, I don't like this trade for the Bulls at all. Obviously, Patrick Williams and Zach Collins aren't the best, but that 2026 first, I would much rather that the Bulls just commit to tanking. Do not trade for Michael Porter Jr., okay? It's going to stop the tank. All right, I guess it is a top 7 protected, but still, I don't know. And again, that also kind of makes me wonder if this is even worth it for the Nets. I feel like the Nets could easily get more for MPJ in the offseason, or even at the actual trade deadline when teams, contenders, are going to be looking for those pieces that can actually help them now. Yeah, there's loads of contenders that we could see slowly start to fizzle out, slowly start to fall short, that are like, oh shit, we got to make a trade. And then they just go for it on MPJ. Low-key, I could see the Timberwolves doing that. I could see the Warriors doing that, giving up like a first for MPJ. I don't think this makes sense for the Bulls, because again, the Bulls should tank. That would be much better for them if the Bulls just tanked. And obviously, the Nets could probably get more out of MPJ than just one top 7 protected first round pick. Okay, next we got the Hornets. LaMelo Ball to the Clippers for John Collins, Bojan Bogdanovic, Cam Christie, and a 2030 first round pick, top 3 protected. Low key, again, the Clippers The Clippers need to fix something. I don't know if trading another pick will be that fix for them. Nah, I don't know. I don't like this trade. Just something about this trade just does not speak to me. Like, just it doesn't speak to me. I feel like John Collins is too good to give up for LaMelo when they already have quite a ball dominant player on the team in James Harden. I don't see LaMelo and James Harden coexisting together. I don't see that working out. And also defensively, that backcourt would be awful. Absolutely awful. They would need to do a lot in order to make that team even somewhat decent. And to give up a 2030 first for that, especially with all the worries that you have with LaMelo as far as his injury history goes, it's so difficult because I feel like if you're trading a 2030 for him, you're kind of committing to him. He will be the future star. And to me, it just doesn't make sense, especially with how old the team is at this point. I don't get it. I don't like it. I feel like the Clippers need to move in a very different direction. And I don't even think the Hornets would trade LaMelo right now, just based on what they were saying. Obviously, there was slight talks about it, but that kind of got shot down almost immediately. So I don't see it. Okay, next we got the Chicago Bulls. Kobe White to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Rob Dillingham, Joan Billinger, and Leonard Miller. I don't mind it. I don't mind that trade. It makes a lot of sense for the Bulls to, you know, trade Kobe White, but I think I 100% think they could get at least one first for Kobe White, especially from the Timberwolves, a team that so desperately needs good guard play. I could absolutely see that. I guess they kind of have Joan Berenger thrown in there as sort of a replacement for a first, but I mean, I would rather just get an actual first, to be completely honest. Yeah, but again, I don't mind it. I don't mind them selling him to the Timberwolves. I think it makes sense for both teams. I would just really try to get more out of it if I was the Bulls. Next, we got the Cavaliers. Max Strus to the Memphis Grizzlies for Brandon Clark. I mean, okay. It's kind of a bit of a nothing type trade to me. Like, it's just a nice little role player trade. I don't know. I guess it kind of makes sense because at this current point, the Cavs do need extra center play with Jared Allen being out. But that's not going to be a long-term issue. I haven't seen a lot of Brandon Clark, to be completely honest. I haven't watched many Grizzlies games, so I'm kind of like whatever on it. I don't know if I would do that or not. This is one that's to be seen. Next, we got the Dallas Mavericks. Anthony Davis to, that's a bit lazy. This is one of my least favorite things that they do in the Bleacher Report articles. This stuff is so lazy to me. They take this bullshit trade and they just flip it for the other team. Again, I don't think it makes sense for the Hawks to do this. It makes way more sense for the Hawks to try to get Giannis. That is the far better option, and they probably have to pay close to the same amount, maybe just the 2026 in return for him. But I would rather do that. I would rather do that than Davis, but I think this is very lazy, just repeating the same trades. But all right, next team, Denver Nuggets, Deron Holmes II, Jalen Pickett, and a 2032 second-round pick to the Miami Heat for Kasparas Yakushonis. Obviously, this is also a bit of a nothing type trade because Kasparas has not played like at all, really. So it's hard to say exactly what they would get out of him, but obviously Deron Holmes II and Jalen Pickett, they're not huge players on the Nuggets. They've been decent. I mean, they really are only giving up a second round pick for a player that's good. It can kind of make sense to me. Yakushonis has the ability to be good, but he is unproven, like they say on the thing right here. He is unproven, and to me that is a worry if they're giving up assets for him. I think for me it makes a lot more sense for the Nuggets to do definite trades, just considering where they're at with Jokic and everything. They don't need a whole lot to be in a good position to contend. So I think just deafening around the edges trades, little stuff like that is really all they need, to be completely honest. I think even if Cam Johnson just goes back to playing the way that he was playing in the last couple of seasons, that's enough for me to view them as like an easy title contender. I already view them as one, to be completely honest. I don't think this type of stuff is really necessary. All right, next we got the Detroit Pistons. Tobias Harris, Ron Holland, and 2027 first round pick, top 5 protected, and a 2030 first round pick to the New Orleans Pelicans for Trey Murphy, Sadiq Bey, and Micah Peavy. I don't know anything about Micah Peavy, to be completely honest. No offense to Pelicans fans, but Trey Murphy III would work really well on that team. Same with Sadiq Bey. Sadiq Bey was already on the Pistons. He was cooking. I'm pretty sure it was on the Pistons when Sadiq Bey had like that crazy game in the bubble. I really don't mind it, to be completely honest. Ron Holland is definitely quite a bit to be given up for him, as well as 2 firsts. But to me, it makes sense for both teams. The Pistons are trying to compete now, and this definitely puts them into a good position of doing that without having to give up many current assets that are helping the team. Obviously, Ron Holland, he has upside. Tobias Harris, he's already at his peak. He's already going to be on the downside now, but Tobias Harris has been playing well for them. I feel like Tobias Harris, ever since that really huge contract he had has worn off, he's definitely viewed in a lot better of a light, just because his contract value actually makes sense for him now. But yeah, I really don't mind this. Trey Murphy III is good. Sadiq Bey has been really good this year. So yeah, I like it. I like it for both teams. Next, we got the Golden State Warriors, Jonathan Kuminga and Brandon Pudgemski for Miles Turner. I mean, I guess so. I don't know. To me, this doesn't necessarily make a whole lot of sense because center play, obviously, they're lacking it to an extent, but they're also really lacking on just good defensive wings. And they're even just lacking on players that can have good offense. So I guess that's the idea with Miles Turner, because Miles Turner can space the floor really well. But I would probably try to see if I could get my hands on Porzingis. Obviously, he's been injury prone. Actually, no. I've thought about it more. Miles Turner makes sense because Turner is not old and he will be a lot more healthy than Porzingis will be this year. So it makes significantly more sense to try to get their hands on him. So I don't mind it. I really do not mind it. Get Miles Turner, call it a day. All right, the team will be good as long as Steph Curry's playing. So next we got the Rockets. Tari Eason, Jayshawn Tate, and a 2029 first-round pick via Dallas or Phoenix to the Boston Celtics for Peyton Pritchard. I don't mind it. I just don't know. Would the Celtics do that? Because they need guard play right now. I guess the idea would be they trade Pritchard and they commit to the idea of keeping Anthony Simons. Obviously, Tari Eason is a very good player, but the wings minutes are going to be very, very impactful, especially when Tatum's back with Brown, So I guess you would kind of replace Sam Hauser off the bench to an extent, but I think Tari Eason's way too good of a player for that. And the 2029 first round pick, I feel like it's kind of undervalued at this point, purely because Phoenix has been a lot better than what people have expected, and the Mavericks are going to be way better in 2029, obviously as Cooper Flag develops and as they get more young pieces around him. I don't know, I guess it depends on how you look at it. They really aren't giving up that much, the main piece being Tari Eason being the main thing that has value in my mind, because to me, I see the 2029 as being probably like a 16th, 17th overall pick. So I don't know, obviously anything can happen, but Peyton Pritchard to me is probably more valuable than that to the Celtics at this point, purely because of how good of a contract they got him on, and purely because what he's able to do off the bench once Tatum is back. Because if they're able to kind of do a bit more of what he was doing last year, that'd be great for them. But also, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, this would play a bit more into the Celtics defense, and this would also help out the Rockets' three-point shooting quite a bit, and as well as help them out with the point guard play that they desperately need right now with Fred VanVleet being out. Now, would I do it? I would absolutely do it if I was the Rockets, I think. But would I do it if I was the Celtics? I mean, I guess so. You're getting a first. You're getting Tari Eason. He's a good piece. You can probably package that together and maybe try to even get a new point guard, maybe a more defensive-oriented point guard, if that's what the team really decides to do. I think especially a team like the Celtics that has been struggling so much as far as contracts go and as far as the second apron goes, Peyton Pritchard is really, really, really valuable to them, mostly considering that they got him on such a good deal for what he's able to do. So I'm not too sure. I guess I don't think I would do it if I was the Celtics, but I'd probably do it if I was the Rockets. I don't know. Next, we got the Pacers. Jarris Walker, Ben Shepherd, and a 2027 second to the Mavericks for Daniel Gafford. No. Like, yes, 100% for the Pacers, but to me, this would be a fleece. Jarris Walker has not been good. Ben Shepherd hasn't really been playing. And a 2027 second round pick, it's not going to be all that valuable. And for Daniel Gafford's really good. I 100% think the Mavericks could easily get a first for Daniel Gafford, especially from a team maybe like the Lakers, because they're still lacking a little bit on center play, having Jackson Hayes come off the bench. I even think a team like the Celtics would probably trade a first for Daniel Gafford. A team like the Pacers would probably trade a first for Daniel Gafford. Obviously, if they could get him for just the second in Ben Shepherd and Jarris Walker, they would 100% do that, but I don't think the Mavericks need to accept that. I think there's way more of a market for good centers. It's my personal opinion. I don't think the Mavericks would do that, but the Pacers would do that in a heartbeat. So, all right, next we got Clippers. James Harden to the Toronto Raptors for RJ Barrett, Ochai Agbaji, Jamal Shead, and 2026 first-round pick, top 5 protected. Yeah, I mean, sure. I'd do that. I think that works out for both teams. The Clippers actually get a first in this really stacked draft that's coming up, given a chance to actually probably rebuild with a good player, assuming they draft well. And also they get back Ochai Agbaji, Jamal Shead, who has been really good recently. RJ Barrett has even been decent. Obviously, RJ Barrett has his own shortcomings, but he's a good player still. I mean, the Raptors get James Harden, someone who can help them with ball handling, someone who can help them with scoring. I think he would do well on that team. It's kind of funny because he's Kawhi's teammate. Maybe he goes there for a year, helps them win a championship, and leaves as well. I don't know, but yeah, I don't mind it. I really don't mind it. I think that works out for both teams. Next, we got the Lakers. Dalton Connect, Maxi Kleber, and a 2031 first-round pick for Herb Jones. Okay, why would the Pelicans do this? Dalton Connect is not good. He's already almost like 25, 26. He's not going to get much better. Maxi Kleber is not good at all, to be completely honest at this point. The 2031 first is going to be valued at almost nothing. It's probably going to be like a 25th, 26th overall pick, just due to the fact that the Lakers have Giannis, not Giannis. God, I hope not. They have Luka. That team is going to be good still in 2031. At the very least, Luka's probably going to be making the playoffs that year. So it's not going to be a lottery protected pick. Herb Jones has a lot of value. He's a good three-point shooter. He's a really, really, really good defender. They could easily get more from him from a contending team. Like a team like the Nuggets would probably trade a pick for Herb Jones. Even OKC would probably trade a pick for Herb Jones. The Knicks would probably trade a pick for Herb Jones. There's so many teams that can always use more three-point shooting and more defense. So to me, I don't get it. I don't get this for the Pelicans. Obviously, this would be great for the Lakers, but I don't get it for the Pelicans. Okay, next we got the Grizzlies. Ja Morant to the Miami Heat for Tyler Hero and Nikola Jovic. I don't think the Heat do that, though. I don't think Ja has been good enough to trade Tyler Hero and Jovic for him. Because even I think like a player like Tyler Hero, there's probably a couple teams that would want him. I guess he is kind of a difficult player to trade for because he is such a specific archetype that it's hard to kind of think of ways that you could kind of pair him with other people. I think obviously the best Tyler Hero we ever had was when he was coming off the bench with Jimmy Butler and everything like that, because it allowed him to kind of do his own thing. I kind of view him as like a significantly better version of Cam Thomas, like a very similar archetype where he's scoring, but like he's very, very, very ball dominant. Or I guess another way you could do it is like a worse version of peak James Harden, significantly worse version of peak James Harden, may I add. So I don't get it for the Heat. I don't think Ja helps them a whole lot, to be completely honest. And Ja has not been very good. He's been quite injury prone these last couple of seasons. He's been suspended quite a few times. And this year he has not been able to shoot threes at all. So I don't get it for them personally. The only team I would like to see Ja possibly get traded to, maybe the Timberwolves. I would like to see the Timberwolves try to get either Ja or Trey. I think they could both be good on the Timberwolves. But I don't think the Heat need him. Personally, I don't think the Heat need him right now. Next, we got the Miami Heat. Oh no, I was confused because they were trading with the Heat. It was Memphis Grizzlies before. Now it's the Miami Heat. So they want them to trade Terry Rozier, his suspended contract, Pele Larson, who has been great for them, Simon Fontecchio to the Pelicans for Zion. I don't like it. I don't like it personally. I don't know why. I've always been super turned off by Zion. Like, it's just, I don't know if it's just the way he plays, the way he can't shoot threes, the injury proneness. Even now when he has gotten into shape, he still has been severely underwhelming. And I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of trading for him, especially not trading a good asset like Pele Larson or Simon Fontecchio for him. I know Simon Fontecchio is not much of an asset. He's a decent role player, but this is probably his peak, to be completely honest. But he's still good. Like Pele Larson as well. I feel like Pele Larson has a lot of really good upside. So I'm not sure if I would do that if I was the Heat. I can understand why someone could make the argument, but me personally, not being a fan of Zion's game, I probably would not do it. But I think it really depends on how you look at it, I guess. Next, we got the Bucks. Bobby Portis, Andre Jackson Jr., and a 2031 first-round pick to the Pelicans for Herb Jones. So I guess they're specifically going out of their way to not include Giannis trades, because not a single one of these trades has been for Giannis. So I feel like they're trying to just avoid that. So I guess the idea was this is building a team that helps Giannis more to try to get Giannis to stay. But I don't know. That 2031 first round pick, that thing's going to be very valuable if we can assume that Giannis is probably going to leave. I don't think they keep him there up until 2031, purely just based on the fact that he has already been quite upset being there. So staying there for an additional 5-6 years is just wild to me. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. Herb Jones would be a good piece on that team. He can play good defense for him. He can hit threes for them. Every positive thing I said about Herb Jones still applies right now. I mean, I would do that trade if I was the Bucks, probably. Again, I don't like including that 2031 first, though. That's just me. I would rather keep it, assume Giannis is gone, and try to rebuild in the future. Especially with a team like the Bucks. I feel like they can only get good players via the draft because not many people want to sign there. The only exception being Damian Lillard, and that was due to the fact that Giannis was there. And then again, they kind of, they waived him. They did not treat Lillard very well. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of other people not too willing to sign there in the future, but that's just me. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Herb Jones is good. I just probably would not trade that 2031 first for him. If I was the Pelicans, though, I'm 100% taking that. Okay, that 2031 first is going to be valued super heavily. Probably valued about as good as the 2026 Pelicans pick is that they gave to the Hawks for Derek Queen. Yeah, I don't know. I would 100% take that if I was the Pelicans. I'm not doing that if I'm the Bucks, though. Next team we got The Minnesota Timberwolves, Dante DiVincenzo and Rob Dillingham to the Bulls for Kobe White. Again, it makes sense. That's a lot more valuable than what the trade they had for the Bulls was. I like that trade a lot better. But again, if I was the Bulls, I would really try to get a first out of them, purely because we know how desperate they are for good point guard play, good guard play in general. I try to get a little bit more out of them. Okay, next we got the Pelicans. Yves Messi, Jordan Hawkins to the Indiana Pacers for Jarris Walker, 2027 second. No. What? God no. Obviously, Jordan Hawkins, he's not that great. Whatever. Yves Messi is good. So to trade Yves Messi for Jarrett Walker in 2 seconds is insane to me. Jarris Walker is awful. Like, personally, Jarris Walker seems to be absolutely horrendous. There's no way I'm trading for him in 2 seconds for Yves Messi. Yves Messi's good. He's an actually good player, and he's a good center. He's a good young center. You can get way more than that for him. I hate that. I actually hate this trade. This trade's awful. Obviously, I'm sure the Pacers would absolutely give up that for him, but there's no way I'm doing that if I'm the Pelicans. All right, next we got the Knicks. Oh no, so they are doing Giannis trades. They just didn't include it for the Hawks. Or the Bucks. Weird. So OJ Anunoby, Josh Hart, Miles McBride, Pacome Dadier, 2026 first round pick, top 8 protected via Washington, 2028 first round pick swap, 2030 first round pick swap, and 2032 first round pick swap to the Milwaukee Bucks for Giannis Antetokounmpo and Thanasis. I like this. I think other teams could have better packages, but if this is all they have to give up for him, then I'm doing that 100% of the time. Now, if I was the Bucks, would I accept this? Probably. I mean, if Giannis is like, trade me to New York City, I want to go to New York, I want to be in New York, trade me there specifically, then yeah, I would definitely consider taking this. I don't mind it, because that 2026 first round pick via Washington is probably quite valuable. Again, I feel like it has really high likelihood of it falling into that top 8, and you just end up not getting the pick, especially with the fact that the Wizards are essentially one of the worst teams in the league right now. I don't think that's too insane. You would have to have quite crazy odds in order to try to avoid that, but I don't know. Again, I don't necessarily mind it. I would probably do it if that was my only option as the Bucks, but yeah, and I would absolutely probably do that if I was the Knicks, because Giannis is Giannis. You know what I mean? He can absolutely turn a team around. Not that the Knicks even need to be turned around. They're a good team now, so they just be even better. So, you know. All right, next we got the Oklahoma City Thunder, Ousmane Dieng to the Nets for Haywood Highsmith and 2 2028 second round picks. I mean, I guess so. I don't know if the Nets would trade picks, though. To me, it doesn't make a lot of sense for the Nets to trade picks. Yeah, I would try to get my hands on Haywood Highsmith if I was OKC. It's a bit of a nothing trade to me. We haven't seen much of Ousmane Dieng to even say that he's extremely good. So to give up 2 picks for him as the Nets is a bit crazy to me. All right, next we got the Magic, Jonathan Isaac, Jace Richardson, and 2 2028 second round picks to the Washington Wizards for Corey Kispert. I guess so. I like Corey Kispert. I think he's a decent player. Jonathan Isaac doesn't really do a whole lot. Jace Richardson has some decent value, though. So I guess the real question is, do I think Corey Kispert's worth Jace Richardson and 2 2028 second round picks? And my answer to that is probably not, to be completely honest. I don't know if he's that valuable, but again, if this is trade deadline, they need to do something, then sure, do it. He helps the team. He helps the three-point shooting. He can help the scoring. He can help the ball handling. I think Corey Kispert absolutely makes the team better. So, yeah, I guess if you're throwing all upside out the window, you need to compete now. I'd do it. But I'm not necessarily sure if he's valued that much in any other circumstance, to be completely honest. Next, we got the 76ers. Jared McCain to the Memphis Grizzlies for Jalen Wells and Gigi Jackson Jr. No, I would not do that. Personally, I would not do that. Jalen Wells has been decent, but I'm not a huge fan of this trade. For the 76ers, I feel like Jared McCain has a lot of value. I think they could easily get more out of him if they really wanted to trade him. Hell, even to a team like the Timberwolves, they could get a lot for Jared McCain. He's a good ball handler. He's a good shooter. He's a good scorer. Obviously, his defense is not the best. Still, he's significantly better than Rob Dillingham. I would happily trade probably like 1 to 2 first if I'm the Timberwolves for him. Maybe even more depending on what the 76ers want for him. But there's no way I'm trading him for Jalen Wells and Gigi Jackson. Respectfully, that is. Jared McCain's really good. I'm a huge Jared McCain guy. I'm very high on him. Next, we got the Phoenix Suns. Jalen Green to the New Orleans Pelicans for Zion. I mean, I guess so. I don't know. I don't think either team would want that. I know the Phoenix Suns are quite sold on keeping Jalen Green currently, and I know the Pelicans are quite sold on keeping Zion currently. And to me, Jalen Green is probably a worse player than Zion, although obviously he's younger, so he has significantly more upside. There's a chance that he becomes even better. But I would probably not do that if I was the Suns, to be completely honest. Again, to me, it just doesn't really make sense, especially at this current point now where the Suns just need to win games. Obviously, Jalen Green has been out for a little bit. He's going to be back in, I believe, like a week or two. Whereas with Zion, there's a bit more of an undefined variable with him as far as how often he's going to be missing games, how injured he's going to be, that sort of stuff. So I would probably lean towards Jalen Green if I was the Suns, purely just for their organization. But again, I think Zion is easily the better player right now. But yeah, I would rather have Jalen Green. Next, we got the Trailblazers. Scoot Henderson, Matisse Thybulle, Chris Murray, and a 2029 first-round pick, top 3 protected to the Pelicans for Trey Murphy III. Yeah, I mean, I'd do that. Oh, actually thinking it's giving up Scoot. I didn't register the fact that it's giving up Scoot. Do I want to give up on Scoot? It's so difficult for me to give up on Scoot. I was very, very, very high on Scoot. I was one of those absolutely big dum-dums who thought there was a possible chance that Scoot would win Rookie of the Year over Victor Wembanyama. I completely regret ever having that take. Thank God I wasn't making videos then, because there's no footage of me saying that out there. Do not look for it. But Scoot, obviously he's been quite injured. He hasn't been as good as a lot of people were expecting, but I feel like he still has that upside. He's still really young. Trey Murphy III is obviously a really good player, though. I'd do it. I think with how good the Blazers have been this year with Denny Avdia, I would get Trey Murphy III. Play more into the defense, play more into that three-point shooting. I would do it. Also, he's good. So he's also young. Obviously, he's not as young as Scoot. Yeah, I would do it. I think that's a fair trade for both teams, to be completely honest. I would do that. I would absolutely do that. Next, we got the Kings. Zach LaVine and Keon Ellis to the Milwaukee Bucks for Bobby Portis, Kyle Kuzma, Gary Harris, Cole Anthony, and a 2031 first-round pick. I would do that 100% if I was the Kings. I think that's a great trade for them. Again, if I was the Bucks, I probably would not do it. Giving up a 2031 first when you have no idea if you're going to have Giannis is crazy, especially for a player like Zach LaVine, especially for a player like Keon Ellis, especially considering Zach LaVine's contract, which is just absolutely insane. It's going to genuinely pigeonhole the team. You're not going to be able to sign pretty much anyone for a while, so I'm not sure. I probably would not do that if I was the Bucks. No, I would definitely not do that if I was the Bucks. I would absolutely do it if I was the Kings. Next, we got the Spurs. Jeremy Sohan to the Bucks for Gary Harris, Amir Coffey, and a 2031 first-round pick swap. No, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that if I was the Bucks. It doesn't make sense to me for the Bucks. Giving up any amount of that 2031 first does not make sense to me, especially in a pick swap. Obviously, at least they get the Spurs pick back, but to me, it's still not good. I'm not doing that. I'm not letting anyone touch that 2031 first if I am the Bucks. There's no way I'm doing that. Me personally, especially Jeremy Sohan. He's decent, but I'm not doing that personally. There's no way I'm doing that. Next, we got the Toronto Raptors. Jacoby Walter to the Lakers for Dalton Connect. I mean, I guess so. It's a bit of a mid trade. Dalton Connect's kind of just like whatever. He can be really bad sometimes. He can be decent sometimes. It really just depends very heavily on whether or not he's hitting his threes. Jacoby Walter, he's okay. I'm not sure if he's done much, to be completely honest. I'm not sure. I guess maybe. Yeah, I'm fairly certain Jacoby Walter is probably younger than Dalton Connect, which leans to me just wanting to keep him if I'm the Raptors. But that's just me. Next, we got the Jazz. Walker Kessler and Cody Williams to the Pacers for Benedict Mathurin. They could get way more than just Benedict Mathurin for Walker Kessler, to be completely honest. They could probably get Benedict Mathurin and like 1 to 2 first for Walker Kessler. And trust me, with the way Danny Ainge is running that shit, he is going to try to get probably 6 firsts for Walker Kessler. Basically what he's doing with Laurie. And I do really like that for them. I think it works. It allows them to continue on this tank job with still having no center, lose a bunch of games this year, get a good pick next year, and then obviously have Walker Kessler be back at around the same time that Halliburton's back and have a good, nice, healthy, full team. It basically just gives them a proper offseason. And also defensively, I really like the idea of Walker Kessler next to Pascal Siakam. I think that would be an insane front court to try to score against. So yeah, I like it. I like it for both teams. Again, though, I think the Jazz would probably try to get a bit more out of it. But to me, I think that's fair. just Benedict Mathurin. Benedict Mathurin has a lot of upside still, and especially on a team like the Jazz, I think he would fit really well onto it. Lastly, we got the Washington Wizards, CJ McCollum to the Golden State Warriors for Jonathan Kuminga, but he healed in a 2030 second round pick. Sorry, not 2039. Yeah, I mean, I would absolutely do that. Both teams, I think that makes sense. I think Jonathan Kuminga, I believe his value has dropped a lot, so you probably would still have to throw in that second. CJ McCollum, obviously he's a bit of an older player, but he's still really good. He's been playing really well recently. So yeah, I don't mind it. I think it works really well, especially that the Warriors need more scoring next to Curry. Curry really just needs help on the offensive side of the ball. So I don't mind it at all. Yeah, I mean, that's the last team. So that's going to be it. I hope you guys all enjoyed watching. Peace.